Abraham Lincoln. Like I said, Germany, when Germany was in power, or Germany was very analytical about everything. And like I said, some of my best films, or some of the best, most, if you went back like 20 or 30 years, Germany had some stuff, and Germans even translated a bunch of stuff into English for me. They said, if you went back just a little bit in time and space, well, at least with me, the Germans were translating a bunch of stuff for me and translated a lot of films so I could see blah blah. And they were very analytical about everything, telling about all kinds of stuff and telling accurately. Like I said, the German films, or some of the old German films and stuff like that, are, and like I said, the Germans used to report and do reports on everything, and they would do them very, very, very perfect reports. They would have the most detailed, the most explanative, and the simplest explanations for everything. Like I said, if you go back and you look at the old German reports and the old German films, you'll see that they were much more detailed, much clearer explanations of everything, and very well thought out. Like I said, Germany for the longest time was doing this Germany Britain or Bryanton kind of thing where they were working with the English very closely, and like I said, a very admirable job, a very perfect job, and they were, you know, their reports were very explicitive or explanative of everything, and very, very nicely done and very well done. And like I said, very professional teams reported the very accurate and clear explanations for everything. And like I said, there was a lot, like Abraham Lincoln and stuff like that. Like there was numerous train things, and they, I mean, they probably would have explained about how, like, he went to this place, he went to that place, he wrote this book, he wrote that book, blah blah. There's a lot of information on Abraham Lincoln, a lot. The only thing was, like I say, he wasn't a president. He wasn't a leader. He wasn't anything. He claimed that he basically owned a town, and pretty much all he owned was like was like um what's it called, the Amish town or something like that, or I don't know, some town. Yeah, and like I say, he might have just been some liar, just like just like what's his name, uh Joe, what's his name, no, I mean, that other guy that is supposedly a founding father. Anyway, like I said, basically Richard Nixon or the Republicans or the Democrats were just got all these people that did exist, and they were basically just putting them all, stringing them all together. And like I said, they really had no relation, and they weren't anything more than, and mostly they were con artists, and basically kind of worked for me, but not really. And mostly they did some really bad things, and I ended up sending people out to just go round them up and go put them in jail or kill them or whatever, you know. And they you know, and it's just one or two people, and they weren't really famous. They really weren't important. That's why. That's why generally people would say, "You'll be famous after you're dead," or these people are more famous after they're dead. No, because somebody kind of needed them, or needed their name, or needed the fact that they were alive at some point in time to add value or something to whatever they were doing, which wasn't really very much. Like I said, that's why, you know, America presented this beautiful thing of, like, George Washington, four scores, and it all looks very good and everything until you actually start to research it or look into it, and then it falls apart. It's completely fake. You know, it's basically five or six people that were wandering around a country but didn't really have anything or any power or any money or do anything more. Like I said, Abraham Lincoln went to Paris, posed for some photographs a long time ago, was a very ugly man, and couldn't really get a girl, and was going around offering girls like $2. And like I said, most Irish at the time, or most Irish or German back then, would be like, $2. I'll pay five for that juicy, gorgeous piece of you know what. And Abraham Lincoln, like I said, once he got upstairs to the room with the girls, he'd be like, and he was going up to really gorgeous women and going, "Well, you got to pay, blah blah blah. Here's $2. You have to give me access to your back door in this country, blah blah blah, in this great country, blah 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 blah." And he would just try and convince these girls that they had to give up their back, their butthole to him. And And then later on he'd be like, but it's a sin against God or blah blah blah. I don't really know. I don't know what spew he gave, but like I said, when my Irish people or when my good people caught up to him, he had the same $2 that he had had the whole entire time, and they were like, well, he didn't really have an income. He just had $2. Yeah, and I almost felt sorry for him because I was like, that's it. But like I said, there were like 5 or 6 or 16 of them, and like his sons or something were gonna avenge his death or something like that. And I don't really know. Like I don't really know. Like you find out about these people, and like I said, he was just going up to every train. Like he'd go up to the trains, he'd be like, "I am blah blah blah, and I can ride for free, and I can eat food for free, and my wife, my beautiful girlfriend, whatever, will eat for free, and blah 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 blah." And then he was trying to say, "Oh, this beautiful country, I can have any house or stay at any place I want for free." And later on, like I said, later on, I was finding out about all this stuff, and I was like, and then later on, he was like, "And I have this land, and it is for free, and this great country, and I am a blah blah blah." And I was like, I said he could have a house. Okay. Wow. Wow. Well, that's strange. Yeah, I mean, my whole thing is like, yeah, he just posed for pictures, and they were only spending. The pictures were selling for like 3 cents or something, and he was getting the dividends. But there's not much money in picture sales. Like I was out thousands or hundreds of thousands, or not. I was out like thousands or hundreds of dollars, and a lot of money. And I made the prints of him, and it was just for the clothing line that he was wearing, and he looked good in a suit or something. Or people said he looked good in a suit, so they were modeling some suits on him and stuff like that. And he would stand still for the 30 or 40 minutes that it would take, and then we were using it for printing the advertisements. And so, you'd open up a catalog or something, and there would be Abraham Lincoln or whatever, a guy in a beard, wearing a suit, dressed all nice. And it was just part of the whole printing process. In order to get a printable picture back then, you had to use a plate or something like that. And basically, we would just, he'd hold still for 35 minutes or 45 minutes, and he was paid the whole day to do that. He'd only work like 35 minutes, and it was a pretty good little thing. If you were a model for Lucifer Starline, me, you would just stand there for 35 minutes or 45 minutes. Sometimes it would take a few takes because sometimes they would move a little bit, and it's like, oh, reset, and they were paid the whole day's wage whether they worked for 35 minutes or a whole day. So they were very encouraged to hold perfectly still for that, because you could get a whole day's work done in like 3 or 4 hours. So it was a good little thing, and you'd be paid not a lot. It was like 2 or 3 cents or 4 cents a day or something like that. I mean, it wasn't a lot. I mean, my workers were making 2 bits or something like that, and we were updating and doing raises and all that other stuff and working it up. But he was basically just a fashion model, and like I say, and he would model the suits and that top hat and stuff like that, and then we'd print the catalogs, and people would look at the nice clothes and go, I think I want to buy that. I'll order that. And then I would make like X amount of dollars, or I mean X amount of cents, like 55 cents, 85 cents. I had the first catalogs, star printing. And so I needed models to model the clothes, so that, I had Abraham Lincoln, and there were like a couple other models, and somebody liked him or whatever. And so I kind of like included him in a few other things, because I usually use my same people over and over again for a few other things, maybe some public speaking or whatever. And maybe when he got in trouble or he stole some money or something, and I had him doing some public speaking, but then that led to blah 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 blah, and then he was like, I guess maybe he started trying to do a revolution or trying to whatever. I don't really know. I don't really care. I mean, he was just one guy that had like 50 sons or 5,000 or like 100 or like 1,000 sons, because I guess he was kept on having sex with women, trying to tell them that he was the president apparently or something. I don't really know. Like I said, I don't really know. I mean, he was just running around and, much just like Trumpy running around going, I'm president, I was elected, da 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 da. And it's like, The only value of the White House was that it was my house. Other than that, you're just a public speaker. You have no power over anything. I was the one who had power over my military because it is my country and my government and it is America. Like, other than that, the White House is just a house. And that's just a desk. And he has no control over the laws or no control over anything. Yeah, the president doesn't have even control over the military. The military decides what the country best needs and how to best defend the country. The only reason why the leader or whatever had any control over the military is because the leader or that was supposed to be me in my house. But I'm not in my house. I'm over here. So just like Abraham Lincoln running around or living in a White House. He lived in a house that was white. And he was running around telling people that he lived in the White House and was the president or something like that. And it's just like, whether you call him Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, Trump, Bush, or whatever, it's just a big stone house and has no relation to the military or the government or anything about America. It was my house. That's it. This is White Star's house, my house. So they're just living in my house trying to pretend it's like George across the street or Tom across the street. You go move into his house and you're like, hey, Tom's wife, let's have sex. Hey, Tom's kids, let's go out and play. And Tom's wife and Tom's kids are like, yeah, Tom's not black. It's like that, basically. And like Trump and Nixon or what's called, like, Trump's supposedly going to negotiate with the space and the stars and bring peace to the galaxy and blah blah, and like the galaxy's like, they have all these, like, I did all the peace treaties because I created the life forms because I knew all the languages, so I was the only one that could communicate with them, so they all know me and they knew me for thousands or trillions of years ago. And it's like, well, but Trump's supposed to go and blah blah blah, and like I say, the human race has been attacking all these other planets so long that it's like, and I'm just like, trillions of years ago I used to talk to them a lot. The human race tried to kill me. They're my life forms, just like a lot of the other life forms in the universe. I used to speak all the languages because I created them or whatever, and now I don't, and I'm just retired on vacation, and Trump's trying to go bargain with whatever race to get whatever technology to try and blah 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 or whatever else, and it's just an endless line of these weird crazy people that are supposedly going to get power from space or whatever, and they're just going to turn around and try and kill me or something, and it's like, well, anyway, so I'm just like, and all these other life forms in space were coming back to me, being like, yeah, they're trying to kill you. It's like, yeah, I know. Yeah, they call me a drug dealer, a drug lord, or whatever. It's like, well, yeah, to the rest of space, the humans are just, because it's all these other people, blah, blah. It's just like, yeah. And Rodney thinks he's my father and is pretending to be the real Lucifer, the real creator, a real inventor too. So is Nixon, so is JFK, so is Abraham Lincoln, so is... And it's just like, to the rest of the galaxy. So, anyway, like I say, and every single one of them is like, you need to support the people who supported you. Who are going to support the people who supported them? Who are going to support the people who supported them? Who are going to support JFK or Jimmy Carter or someone? And it's like this backwards support to people who really actually didn't support anyone, were nothing. Or something. Like, it's all this, like when you understand what they were trying to do, or how the keys of whatever, like trying to basically supporting the people who supported, but realistically, no one they didn't really support more than they went and basically just were just like talking to people out in the public, and they had no support and they had no money, and they were just trying to pretend like they had all these projects going on, but they didn't. So